is up, everybody? I'm so glad to be here with you tonight. What's up, Nisi? Glad to see you tonight. I'm happy to see everybody here in the chat. We got some, hey Cam, how you guys doing? We got some pretty exciting content to get into tonight. Where we're going to be talking, of course, about Dallas Cowboys Training Camp. Y'all know from my previous episodes, we did a whole series on Coach Mike McCarthy, and it was entitled, Why Mike McCarthy Will Lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl in 2023. That was a 4-part series. So I encourage everybody to please, if you did not see that, go back and watch it. I have 2 episodes of that uploaded to my channel. But as you guys know, who's been listening, I am still without my laptop. That's why y'all see it look kind of different, right? Because I'm having to do this from my phone, but it's okay because we're still here. But I've been without my laptop for almost 2 weeks now. So I haven't been able to upload those videos, parts 3 and 4 of the series to my YouTube channel. But you can check out those shows or those episodes on the Blast Music 247 YouTube channel. So please go over to Blast. I'm live right now on that platform as well as my own platform. So please go over to the Blast Music 247 YouTube page, guys, and show that channel some love. Listen to my prior episodes, like I said, part 3 and 4 of my Mike McCarthy series. Give them a like and a subscribe. And then go to my channel, guys. Please like this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, Stargazer Sports. Please turn on your notification bells so that you know when Star is going live. That way you guys can always be right into the content. And then as well, if you guys would be so kind, I would encourage you guys to donate to my channel. I have my Cash App here on the screen, Stargazer Sports. As you guys know, if you donate to the channel, it helps grow the channel. It helps with better production. It helps with me being able to upgrade equipment and things like that. So please donate to the channel. And I appreciate everybody who's already donated to me. I always say every penny helps. I know some of us may not have a lot of money, so even giving $1 or $2, whatever, it helps me tremendously, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Okay, well, like I said at the beginning, today we are getting into training camp. If you guys don't know, the Dallas Cowboys have been in training camp for the past 2 weeks. This is the 3rd week of training camp, and we have a game, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, y'all see me fixing my clothes a lot. We have a game, ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday. So it's a preseason game. So y'all don't be, it's not the regular season hasn't started yet, but still, preseason means what? Football is back. Yes, football is back. We're super duper excited about that. Wow, it seems like it's been an eternity without football. It feels like it's been an eternity since we got sent packing by the 49ers, which was one of the saddest days of my life. But it's okay because we're back and we have another chance. We have another chance for another phenomenal season, another chance to make playoffs, another chance to go deep. Hello, Kevin, how you doing? Go deep in the playoffs. And if my whole series I did on Mike is right, we're going to be in the Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this Dallas Cowboys training camp content, where I'm just going to speak about my observations in training camp, as well as some things that have occurred during training camp. And then we're going to go over some camp battles that we should be looking out for on Saturday for our first preseason game. So Veep, yes sir. See, me and Veep right here. Thank you, Veep. Okay, so let's get into it. Y'all know we gotta talk about the elephant in the room, Mr. Zach Martin, right? And so I put here life without Zach Martin, the positives and the negatives. So positives. Young players get meaningful reps with first team and build chemistry with one another. Mike McCarthy today during his press conference said this very thing. And guess what, guys? I created this presentation before Mike. So clearly, Coach Mike and I are best friends. He knows I did that awesome series about him. So I see you, Mike. I see you. But anyway, I know many people have been upset about this whole Zach Martin contract issue, and everybody's saying, pay the man, right? He's the best player on our team. He has more Pro Bowls and holding penalties. I know y'all, I just keep saying that because that's what y'all like to say. So he has more Pro Bowls and holding penalties, and we just need to pay him at all costs. We don't care about anybody else who needs to get paid. We need to give Zach Martin his money. Not now, but right now. Okay, so, but anyway, there is a positive of Zach Martin sitting out, and that is that our young guards like Joshua Ball and Matt Farniok and Chuma Undoga and our rookie Austin Richards, these are guys that are getting reps in those positions. Specifically, Josh Ball has been getting a ton of reps at that right guard position, which I know many people have bad things to say about Josh Ball. I, however, look at Josh Ball more objectively than subjectively. Josh Ball, if you look at the preseason games from last year, one thing was clear that he could do, and that was run block. Okay? His issue was being on an island as a tackle because he did not have the feet for it. If you watch his run blocking reps, he's road grading, he's bullying guys, right? You watch his pass blocking reps, he couldn't get his feet right, he's getting his butt whooped. Yeah, so those were the issues with Josh Ball, and those are the issues that, you know, we're still looking for today. Now, I will point out that the offensive line has not really been covered much. From the content creators that I have spoken to that went to training camp in Oxnard, they are stating that the offensive line had primarily been practicing on the other side of the field to where the fans could not get to them. Now, what does Star think about that? I think that the reason that they have the offensive line, not that they're public or, you know, they don't have the reporters talking about them much, they don't have the offensive line next to the media, is because there was an article that came out, I believe, last week. Y'all forgive me because I don't know exactly who it was from, but it was from one of our Dallas Cowboys beat writers, maybe Ed Warner, John Machota, Michael Gelkin, maybe one of those guys. But they talk about how a big change of the offense, guys, is the offensive line protections. And so I really think that with that, our offensive line, right, is really keeping them away from the media. They're able to build their offensive line chemistry or synergy or however you want to call it away from scrutiny, right? And it just allows them to kind of just be in their own little world and get the proper, the attention from Coach Mike Solari that they need. Which Coach Mike Solari, you guys may not know, but he's our offensive line coach. He is a phenomenal man. I did a whole series, not a series, but a show about why our offensive line will dominate in 2023. You guys can check that out on my YouTube channel. And I do talk extensively about Coach Mike Solari and his background. And so one of the reasons that I wasn't panicking after the draft was because we have Coach Mike. And Coach Mike is a guy that with less talent, he's always had offensive lines that great in run blocking, good pass block win rates, coach Hall of Famers when he was with the 49ers. So he is the key to our offensive line being great again. But anyway, so the positives, young guys are building up this chemistry. Josh Ball, like I said, I look at him objectively. I don't just think that it's wise to keep saying that he sucks. I think there's some things that he struggled with. But I said all of that to get to when we look. What's up, my girl Craven Cowboys? Glad to see you in the chat tonight, Mickey. But when we, what was I saying? With the offensive line, guys like Joshua Ball, right? I'm actually rooting for Josh Ball. And I think everybody should be rooting for him because, guys, let's say even if Zach Martin was at training camp right now, Zach Martin could get hurt. And then who would be playing? Joshua Ball, right? Because Joshua Ball pretty much at this point is going to be our backup right guard. So if he has to play, we want him to do well, because if he doesn't do well, then that means that our offensive line's not doing well on protections or in the run game. And that's a huge issue for us. So I think it would be wise to stop crapping on Josh Ball, to look at him more objectively, and to hope that he's able to get acclimated and to do a good job at the position. Now, from film that I've seen, from clips that I've seen over there in Oxnard, he seems to still be doing a great job at run blocking, and he seems to be holding his own in pass blocking his combo sets. I haven't seen any clips with him getting destroyed. Neither have I heard any beat reporters or anybody say, wow, Josh Ball's getting murdered out here. I haven't seen that. I haven't heard that. If y'all heard that, y'all can let me know in the chat, and people put y'all's comments up. But I haven't seen or heard that. Haven't really heard much on Chuma Ndoga, to be honest, or Austin Richards. Because like I said, the offensive line has pretty much been kept out of the media, which I just think that Mike has got it set up that way to protect us, right? To protect what we're doing differently, to not give defensive coordinators an upper hand on what we are doing. Okay? Now, a negative of not having Zach Martin is, obviously, he's a starting 5 lineman, right? So, he's missing out on that opportunity to build chemistry. The offensive line, that's a big thing of what makes the offensive line good, is how many reps they can get together under their belt. I will say that that's a small negative, just considering that Zach Martin is a vet's vet, right? This is a first ballot Hall of Famer. So, and he's still been putting in work with Duke Manyweather and things like that. So I think Zach Martin will be prepared. At this point, what's mostly hurting Zach Martin, or who's mostly hurting from this situation, is Zach Martin, not necessarily the organization. And if I could, Veep, if you could help me pull up, because Jerry spoke about Zach Martin today, and so I kind of want to give y'all this quote and kind of give y'all my thoughts about it. Veep, do you have that tweet I sent you? If you don't, then we can move forward, or maybe you can pull it up for us at a later time. Okay, yes, but I'm going to go into, he's going to pull it up for us in just a second, but I'm going to go into, here we go. All right, so this is from John Machota. John Machota he covers the Dallas Cowboys, if you guys should know. The people that y'all should be following on Twitter, John Machota, Michael Gelkin, I think his name is Calvin Watkins. Who else? Ed Warner. These are guys that y'all should be following. Who else? I'm forgetting. Clarence Hill. Those are all reporters that cover the Cowboys exclusively. So you guys should be following them. But anyway, I'm going to read this quote from Jerry today. It says, is Jerry Jones surprised that the Cowboys haven't made any progress with Zach Martin? Jerry says, not really. He says, not really. Right. Yeah, not really. Surprise is really not the word there. It's very costly. That's just where we are. There are huge, significant ramifications happening here by anybody's measure financially. So you realize that not having him here, it could happen via injury on the next play. You've got to put that one on and say you just move on here without him. You say that sounds like a concern? No, I'm just trying to give you how you really have to look at it. Okay, guys, so from this quote, and I already basically had said, what Jerry's saying. If an injury happens, we have to move on. We have to move, right? Without Zach Martin. Just like when Tyron Smith went down last year, we had to move on without him, right? And so it's seeming to me that we're not budging on the Zach Martin contract. So either Zach Martin is going to play without the guaranteed money that he wants, or he's going to not play, continue to receive fines, right? I think during the season, he could say he had an injury just like he did in OTAs and say that he cannot play. But again, that would just be hurting Zach Martin, right? Than necessarily hurting the team. I'm not saying that we don't need Zach Martin. That would be asinine. I do believe that Zach Martin is better than Josh Ball on any given Sunday. But I do believe that I'm not throwing our season away or disregarding what we can do if Zach Martin is not in the lineup. That's just how I look at it. Now, Beep, if you could bring my slide back up because I want to talk about something else. So, with this Zach Martin contract, how would I handle it if I was a GM? I would do exactly what Jerry and Steven are doing. And I know y'all probably hate me for that, but I would do exactly what they're doing right now, which is continuing to allow my young guys to develop and get those meaningful reps and let Zach keep taking on those fines. That's exactly what I would do. Now, me personally, I would probably, if Zach really wasn't budging and was refusing to play, I would give him a little extension, like right before the season starts. That's what I would do personally. But I'm gonna let him sit out long and take those fines, right? And the reason why I would do that is because I personally do not agree with the timing of Zach Martin. And I get all that he needs, he's the best guard in football. He deserves to be paid. But the thing is, Zach Martin agreed to his contract. He agreed to a 6-year contract, did he not? He agreed to that, knowing that the market was going to go up. But he agreed to it anyways. So at some point, he knew he wasn't going to be the highest paid anymore. That's my point of saying all this. So, and then the fact that he waited the week. I've always said the timing. It's so many contracts that need to be handled. And for him to be the one like that, him going to Adam, I feel like that should have been like Trayvon Diggs or I don't know, Terrence Steele, right? Those should have been those types of guys. For Zach Martin to do that as leader of this team, I just don't respect how he did that. That's my personal opinion. I get business is business, but I don't think that it was wise for him to do it just a week before training camp and now to literally strictly be holding out. To me, it seems a little bit, I don't know. It just seems like, why now? Why weren't you doing this last offseason? Because you knew you weren't going to have guaranteed money this season. I mean, you weren't going to have guaranteed money going into the 2024 season. Like, you wait till all these young guys' contracts go up. So, and I want you guys to know, it's not that we cannot pay Zach Martin. You heard the other content creators saying, we pay Zach Martin, it's going to open up money. It's not about that, right? It's not about the fact if we can pay him or not. It's the fact that we have other things that we need to handle before he gets paid. That's just the reality of it, Other pressing matters. Paying Zach right now to the front office is not a pressing matter. Regardless of how you guys look at it. I don't know how else to say it. Now, do I still want to trade Zach Martin? Because, I was advocating in the beginning of this offseason to trade Zach Martin. I said, let's trade him. Let's get lots of compensation for him. Let's sign Connor McGovern. Let's move on our way. However, we're not going to be able to do that. I don't think we should trade him now. Somebody put that out on Twitter, like, what if we traded Zach Martin? Like, what would y'all do? At this point, I don't believe that we should trade Zach Martin because we don't have a seasoned veteran behind him. Sure, we have Josh Ball, but this is the first year Josh Ball is making the transition from tackle to guard. If we had Connor McGovern here, I would say trade Zach Martin in a heartbeat and get the compensation. Because regardless of how we look at it, Zach Martin is 32 years old. Zach Martin is aging. He's still pretty much at the top of his game, but I think he has about like a year or two of that left. He's no longer demigod Zach Martin. He's no longer what he was, and that just comes with age if we're being realistic. But yeah, that's my feelings on Zach Martin. I do want to talk about this because who do we sign? We just signed Malik Hooker last week. We signed him to a 3-year deal. And I want to talk briefly about, is that Jalen? Doesn't seem like the situation is a bit Jalen Smith-ish. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Yeah, it is. Y'all remember when we signed Jalen Smith before we signed Zeke, before we signed Dak, we went ahead and signed Jalen Smith, basically because I guess he was the one that was cooperating, right, with the front office. So the Malik Hooker signing, am I shocked by it? Yes. I personally thought we were going to let Malik Hooker walk because we do have a lot of young safeties behind him that seem to be showing promise. I personally do not think Malik Hooker has the range of a free safety anymore. Now, he can prove me wrong this season, but I know last season and in 2021, so many times he was supposed to be helping our corners, right? And he's like looking in the backfield, and he no longer has recovery speed if he looks in the backfield and he's a step late, which gave up big plays on our cornerback to Anthony Brown, Kelvin Joseph. So, which caused us to lose games. Yeah. Tampa, the Jags games. Yeah. So, I personally would like another young guy to be getting the rep, to be trying to get acclimated to push Malik Hooker out the window. But he is here. He obviously, worked out his contract with the front office and they want him to stay here. So, I hope that he does better this year is my personal opinion. But yes, what they're doing, obviously, the front office is they are mad as hell at Zach Martin. And I think it's for the reasons that I just said. I don't think that they appreciate the way he handled this whole contract situation, especially because the front office hasn't been handling any contracts in the media this year. Y'all notice that? They have not been talking about contracts at all in the media this year. But Zach gave them a reason to talk about it. So now Jerry is talking, and he's not really talking about it, but he's just saying, we're not paying him. We're not dealing with his contract this offseason. We have other things that we need to worry about. And I know us couch GMs, I say, what's going to open up more money and da-da-da-da-da. But guys, do y'all really think that the front office would literally, if it just would make all the sense in the world to pay him, but they really just would not pay him? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all just have to think about these things. It's obviously got to be something, I don't know, the number or something that Zach is asking for where the front office feels like, no, not right now. It's got to be something else other than, I know we're crunching the numbers online and we're looking at this, we're looking at that, and it's supposed to open this up, it's supposed to open up that. But if it made all the financial sense in the world and Zach was like just being reasonable, I can't see the front office just refusing to do anything with his contract. It's got to be something else. It could be that Zach's just in the doghouse. I don't know. Maybe him and Jerry had a discourse, and Jerry really is just trying to stick it to him. Jerry and Steven, that's possible. But I don't really see it. I think there's something else that we, the fans, are not able to see. But anyway, that's my spiel on this whole Life Without Zach Martin thing. Basically, what I'm saying is the show must go on, with or without Zach Martin. I hope that it's with him. I pray that it is with Zach Martin. I pray that we get it figured out and he is playing starting week 1. But if not, the show must go on. So the more reps that Joshua Ball can get, the better. And honestly, the more positive vibes we can send to Josh Ball, the better, because he very well could be starting week 1, regardless of how we feel about it. All right, you can help me go to the next slide. So this Dak versus Diggs thing. I know y'all heard all about it last week. Jesus Christ. Okay, so y'all know Diggs cussed out Dak last week after Dak was destroying him. Dak was destroying him, and Diggs was just obviously pissed off, right? But when we look at the quotes, I have a quote here from Dak Prescott on it. I have a quote here from Diggs about it. So let's see how those two gentlemen dealt with the issue. So this is from an article John Machota wrote, the guy who I just showed you the tweet from Jerry Jones. Okay, so, and it reads, it says, he was also asked to address those people who say he doesn't have respect for Dak. When he's talking about Diggs. Okay? Diggs says, stay out of our business. People don't need to worry about what we got going on. My relationship with my brother. Dak is the leader of our team. He's going to go out there and have a great year. I have the utmost respect for Dak. Right. Now we're going to read another excerpt. I believe it's from the same article where Dak addresses the issue. And Dak says, it's another representation of playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Anything that's said, done, or viewed, the reach, I guess, it can have, and obviously the opinion and everything follows, he said. But as far as what people say, how people perceive it, it's honestly one of those things that you realize not a lot of people have competed or been in very heated competitions, whether it be with their family or with their brother, friend, teammate. Words are just words. When you love somebody and you know who they are, you compete against them in everything you do. Rock, paper, scissors, card games, football, you name it. Yeah, you've got emotions and you've got feelings about it. Words don't hurt me, never have hurt me. Shout out to Ford. That's why he's our quarterback. Dak Prescott is the most mentally tough quarterback in the NFL right now. And he has to be that way. Obviously, he said that, like, when you play for the Dallas Cowboys, like, things that they would never say about other quarterbacks, they say about him. But anyway, so I wanted to talk today, like, what qualifies as disrespect? What qualifies as competition? Right? So, both of these gentlemen have said that we are brothers, we love each other, right? But for some reason, the media keeps peddling that it was disrespect, that Trayvon Diggs disrespected Dak Prescott, right? Which, in Star's opinion, is total bullshit, okay? That's what I'll say, total bullshit. If anybody, just like Dak said, if anybody has competed in the competition before, sports, like he said, card games, even if it's as a kid racing, anything, right? Literally, I don't know, playing hopscotch. You could have any type of competition, playing video games. You talk trash to the other person that is opposing you. And it does not mean that you hate that person or you dislike that person. When you're competitive, right? In order to compete against somebody, you've got to have some type of fire in you if you want to win, right? If you're just going to be soft, and when I say soft, that means you're just going to allow this person to do whatever to you. Like, it's a competition, meaning I'm trying to win. Dak is a quarterback. Diggs is a cornerback or a defensive back. They're competing against each other. It's their jobs to try to stop one another. Like, don't y'all get that? So, of course, Dak is going to talk trash to Diggs because he knows that's going to fire Diggs up, and Diggs is going to play harder. And the same thing, Diggs is going to talk trash to Dak when he stops him because he knows that Dak will play harder. And especially in the game of football, have y'all never listened to any of the mic'd up from the Dallas Cowboys or other football teams and players? That's how they talk. That is the dialogue that goes on between teammates, right? Y'all should listen to some of the stuff Troy Aikman was saying to his own team. Does that mean Troy is disrespecting him? No, but this is football, folks. This is a very high contact competitive sport. So I believe that qualifies as competition. Now, disrespect comes if Diggs and Dak did not have a relationship off the field. I think you could then attribute that as disrespect. Because if Diggs doesn't like Dak or Dak doesn't like Diggs off the field, then I would attribute what they're saying to one another on the field is disrespect because they don't have a relationship. They don't have a relationship. But my point is Dak and Diggs do have that relationship, guys. And they said it clearly multiple times. So please, 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 don't listen. I don't know how many times I got to say this, but just don't listen to the media, guys. The media is there to gaslight Dallas Cowboys fans. And really, I heard that it was a freaking Eagles content creator, Shop, that started this whole nonsense. And then the mainstream media took off with it. And we know that Eagles are our number one haters because they can never beat us. They can never beat us. And they're never going to catch us. They're never going to catch us in Super Bowls. No matter how many times they try. They're never going to catch us. And it's sad because we haven't won a Super Bowl since 95. And they still only have one Super Bowl. So anyway, guys, ignore the haters, right? Dak and Diggs are fine. They are going to be fine. And honestly, the competition, the competitiveness between those men is going to... What's happening, because if y'all don't notice, this training camp is so competitive. And I tweeted about this way before training camp in March. I said I can't wait for training camp because it's going to be so freaking competitive. And that's exactly what it is, because Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn have ushered in that. And Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn both want to be the best. So they're preparing their guys to be the best. They're preparing their guys to go the extra mile. They're preparing their guys to be ruthless out there on that field. So just know that this banter between Dak and Diggs and all the players on the field, that it's going to show up. It's going to show up in the season when we're actually going against our enemies. And it's going to make the world a difference. Okay. Veep, you want to help me get to the next slide here?
Hey, real quick. It is already at the midpoint.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Veep. I am the Vice President of Blast Music. And tonight, we have our musical guests who are sponsored by the Lee Law Firm. If you are in Dallas, Texas, and need legal assistance, look up the Lee Law Firm. You can find them on Facebook. Right after the Blast Artist of the Week, we have an ad for the Lee Law Firm. The Blast Artist for the Week is the Michael Body Band, and this is called Leave This Town. So let's check it out.
Flows right where I stand. Save me from the rising tide. The water crests the broken dam. I don't know all the reasons why, but soon I'll have to say goodbye. I'm gonna grab a beer, maybe sit right here for a moment till the sun goes down. gonna leave this town. I'm gonna leave this town. Drive me down a country road, navigate the twisted bed, show me if my moving's slow, just wonder how this trip will end. I don't know all the reasons why, but soon I'll have to say goodbye. I'm gonna grab a beer, maybe sit right here for a moment till the sun goes down. I'm gonna grab a beer and maybe sit right here for a moment till the sun goes down. I'm gonna leave this town. I'm gonna leave this town. Say goodbye. I'm gonna grab a beer and maybe sit right here for a moment till the sun goes down. I'm gonna grab a beer and maybe sit right here for a moment till the sun goes down. I'm gonna leave this town. I'm gonna leave this town. I'm gonna leave this town. I'm gonna leave this
Yes, indeed. And that was the Michael Body Band with Leave This Town. And right now, we're going to go into our sponsor, which is the Lee Law Firm.
The Lee Law Firm.
The Lee Law Firm.
It is a law firm for those in the Dallas-Fort Worth area seeking a holistic approach to solving their legal matters. Just some of the legal services the firm provides. It's divorces, custody suits, child support, and adoptive child services, criminal defense, DUI defense, wills, trust, power of attorneys, and many, many more. You can contact the Lee Law Firm.
The Lee Law Firm.
And make sure that you say the word blast when you speak to the Lee Law Firm representatives and receive 10% discount on your initial retainer to hire the firm.
Alrighty, so that was Michael Body Band with Leave This Town. And if you are an independent artist or even a spoken word poet or an up-and-coming comedian looking for some exposure, you can go to blastmusic247.com and register for free. But Blast is not just about the artists. We're also here for the fans. We need the fans. So if you like to listen to great music, go to blastmusic247.com and register as a fan for free. And you get to hear hundreds of great music. And back to Star.
Thank you, Veep. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and get back to, and I want to tell everybody in the comments, guys, when I'm doing the show, I can't really see some of your comments unless Veep puts it on the screen. So just know that I'm not ignoring you, and that if there's something that y'all want me to discuss with you, like dialogue wise, just comment under the video so that I can answer it after the show. And please, if you are watching live, please like this video and please share it as well so that we can help the channel grow. We really want those numbers to go up, so please help us out there. But okay, V, can you go to the next slide for us? Okay, so let's talk about Dak. If you could help us out with the background music. I can't hear it, but if it's playing, then that's fine. But anyway, so guys, so let's talk about Dak and his wide receivers, right? Because I don't know if you guys heard, but you should have, that the wide receivers have really been phenomenal this camp. Just light years ahead of where they were last season. Y'all remember last season, the defense pretty much dominated the offense the entire training camp, I believe. I mean, there may have been some days that the offense had a better day, but for the most part, the defense was dominating. And now, guys, it seems like the offense has probably had more better days than the defense. And not that the defense has fallen off, it's just showing that now the offense and the defense are now, the playing field seems to have been equalized. Okay, so the key factor that I want to talk about that I think has completely changed and flipped this wide receiver room is Brandon Cooks. His leadership, I have here, has elevated the entire room route, and I put here route running, creating separation. If y'all look at how much separation our wide receivers are getting. And I wish I had clips for you guys tonight, guys, but I don't. When I get my laptop back, we'll start incorporating the clips and stuff back. But if you guys, like I said, if y'all go and follow John Michelle, Michael Gelkin, Calvin Watkins, Clarence Hill, all of those guys, you will see clips. Jory Epstein, you will see clips of the wide receivers, touchdowns, and things like that. Look at the separation that these guys are getting. The little sudden nuances of them running these routes. It's really a fantastic thing to see. And for my eyes, when I'm looking, it's seeming that the subtleness at the top of their routes, basically being able to confuse the DBs, is something that they've all now added to their tool belt. And I think that flows down from Brandon Cooks, because since Dak has been in the league, I have not seen the wide receivers all to me look in sync and just look like they are running the routes the same way, which I think, like I said, flows from having freaking Brandon Cooks in the building. It's just an incredible thing to see. But something else that's different is that the routes are timed to the quarterback's feet, and the wide receivers now know what routes they are running, and they're feeling confident. And I really think that is the key, right? The wide receivers now know the routes that they are running. Remember last week I talked about the aggressive option route system and how in Kellen Moore's offense, he had multiple wide receivers running option routes. Option routes means that if the defense does this, I do this. If the defense does that, I do this. Which in theory, it sounds like it should work every single time. But of course, smart defensive coordinators begin to counter that by disguising their defenses and doing things like that, which confuse the wide receivers. So now that we have limited, I don't think we've completely deleted option routes, but we've narrowed it down for certain people and not the entire wide receiver core or the entire tight end room. Now, since we limited that, the players are able to play fast because they know what they are looking for, and they know exactly the route that needs to be ran and when they need to get in and out of their breaks. I want to read us an excerpt here. This is from Jory Epstein. She wrote a phenomenal article. For the next two slides, we're going to be dissecting the quotes from that article by Jory Epstein. If y'all go to her Twitter, type in Jory Epstein, Jory Epstein. I believe is how you spell it. You will find this article on her page where she pretty much talks about the changes within the offense. Okay, and she is a contributor from Yahoo Sports. So this is a quote from CD. This is about the new offense. He says, "I can run my routes more comfortably, knowing that he's done." He, talking about Dak, is done with his drop, or that he's not getting touched, or that he's protected. This is from CD, right? He says, "I feel like the speed that we have in this room, the guys that can track the ball, the mentality will help us get open, create separation. It just can't be too early, because then it's quickening up his steps," talking about Dak, "and it's a whole different situation. Being on the same timing as the quarterback is very important to us." So he is talking specifically about those last 2 points. Their routes are now timed to the quarterback's feet. So Dak's feet, right, whether he's doing a 3-step drop or a 5-step drop, it's telling them when they need to get in and out of their breaks. If you don't know what breaks is, basically it's like when am I supposed to break into the route, right? Because at first, when the wide receivers are going out, you know, a good wide receiver is supposed to, the DB shouldn't know what route you're running. Now, seasoned DBs like Stephon Gilmore, he's pretty much a Hall of Famer, right? You know, he's got multiple Pro Bowls, All Pros, and things like that, was former Defensive Player of the Year. So he has an extra amount of knowledge, okay? But generally speaking, the wide receiver is supposed to set up routes, right? So you're supposed to be able to set the route up, right? You don't know which direction I'm going, then I break off into the route, whether it's an out route, a corner route, a drag route, a crossing route, right? So that's what I mean when I say getting out of their breaks. So now the routes are specifically timed to Dak's feet, so everybody knows what they're looking for, right? And then as CD said, they're now more confident. They know what routes they're supposed to be running, what they're looking for, when they're supposed to be doing what. And that is going to help. It's not only helping with communication, but it's going to help create huge plays for Dak and his wide receivers. And that's why Dak has done so many freaking throwing sessions with his wide receivers, guys. He's done, and I hope, Veep, if you could let me know in the chat, is the background music playing? I hope so. I can't hear it, but I hope it's playing. But anyway, so, and Veep, if you could just go ahead and move on to the next slide for us. Okay, so here I'm talking about, we're going to read a quote from our offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, okay, which is, I love Brian Schottenheimer. And it's not just because his name is not Kellen Moore, it's just because of how detailed, the things that Brian says, I just never heard Kellen say ever. How detailed he is about, and how well he knows the intricacies of the chemistry and the bond between the wide receiver and the quarterback, right? And then how much he speaks about how much it's important for a coach to know his players and then build a scheme based off of his players' skill set. I'm going to read you guys a quote. This is him talking to Jory Epstein. This is the exact same article. So he says, picture a receiver who's tasked with running his route 12 yards deep. He then sees a cornerback hovering at 12, but open space at the 9. So the wide receiver breaks 3 yards early. Remember in the previous slide, CD said you just can't do it too quickly. Y'all remember he said that? He said we just can't do it too quickly, because then if you do that, you're speeding up Dak's feet, and it's going to be a whole nother situation, right? So anyway, so it says, he breaks 3 yards early, convinced that the decision will help him get open, but the quarterback expects his receiver to be elsewhere. The number one mistake a receiver or skill player will make is the number one mistake a receiver or skill player will make is they're short on their route. Schottenheimer told Yahoo Sports, "They're open, they want the ball, they all do, so I'm going to look." If a receiver doesn't understand how many steps the quarterback is taking, then there's no time clock in his brain. Meaning, if he doesn't understand the drop, right? If Dak doing a 3-step drop or a 5-step drop, he's not sure when to get in and out of his breaks. So a lot of times when Dak was already, his feet, right? Dak is already ready to get the ball out, but the routes are still, his wide receivers are still throwing route. His wide receivers are still running the route. So there's a lot of times that Dak is just having to sit there in the pocket and like, okay, no one's open, right? So and then the way our offense was set up, it wasn't set up for him to instantly go into a scramble drill and try to improvise. So that's why a lot of times you see Dak just in the pocket patting the ball, right? And then bad things happen, like sacks or forced throws or tight window throws for interceptions. But anyway, continue reading. It says the difference between Prescott taking a 3-step drop that will launch the ball to his target in 1.678 seconds versus a 5-step drop that skews closer to 1.921 seconds. Schottenheimer gives as an example can be the difference between a completion and an interception. So y'all understand what I'm saying to you guys, that the huge difference. And if you've been able to watch, I advise you guys to go on Twitter. You can look, you don't even have to go on Twitter. You can go to the Dallas Cowboys, because they did I believe a practice or a scrimmage this past Saturday. It was not with another team, but versus each other. You can go to like I said, the beat writers, go to various content creators who should have clips and stuff of what's been going on in training camp. But you will really see Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, Will Grier, they are now doing a lot of 3-step drops. A lot of 3-step drops, which that is a key. Y'all see here, I said the important. When I see 3-step drop, my mind automatically goes to who? Joe Montana. Because Joe Montana, West Coast offense, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And when I see Dak do that 3-step drop, it reminds me of Joe Montana. And I think we're going to see a lot of 3-step drop. As Coach Schottenheimer said, the difference between a 3 and a 5 could be the difference between a completion and an interception. So 3-step drop obviously allows Dak to be able to get that ball out of his hands fast, which also helps believe it or not, your offensive line. So I think we really are going to see a change in our offense in the sense of quicker reads, quicker dropbacks. Wide receivers are doing what Dak's feet are doing. They're not out there making their own decisions, right? They're doing what Dak is telling them to do by what his feet are doing. So that is the reason that I believe Dak and his wide receivers, that's why we've seen them turn up. They're already on the same page. And they'll just, as the season continues, as off season, then we get into the regular season continues, that chemistry is just going to continue to build more and more and more and more and more. Okay? We can go to the next slide. Now, here we talk about the offense is in Dak's hands. So, I say MVP season. Dak Prescott is headed for an MVP season. And I believe this because of the nuances that I just said between the wide receivers, following his feet instead of following their own way, putting Dak in control. So he's no longer forced to run a play he has no faith in. He now has complete control at the line of scrimmage, right? So let's read. This is an excerpt. This is the same article from Jory Epstein, but we're going to read Dak's words when he talks about this new offense that they're running. He says, "I keep saying aggressive nature, but it's aggressive in the play calls with a great purpose in it. hey, if that's not there, you know the reads, just get down to it. Very clear and concise about getting to a play that I feel most comfortable with. If I don't like that look, whether it's a run play or a pass play, I have so many plays and things in my back pocket that I'm almost obligated to get to because I know what he's looking for in his plays. If the expected look is not the defense that I get, I'll feel comfortable and know, hey, I need to get to this play because it's better for everybody, right? And I believe he's talking about these are the changes that Mike McCarthy has added to this offense. And he says now, and he's talking about the changes, right? Which means that this was not something that he had under Kelly. He's saying now, instead of me having to run the play, I may not like the play, but I don't really have much in my tool belt, or the play that I do have in my tool belt, the one or two audibles that I do have, still not going to work on this front or what I'm seeing. Now I have a wealth of plays. Like Dak now has the ability to compete. He is going to be a field general in the complete sense of the word. Think Tom Brady, right? Think Peyton Manning. Think Joe Montana. So this is a guy, Dak is now going to be able to have complete control because we know Dak understands this game through and through, right? And the last time Dak was able to have an offense that was completely in his hands, where he was able to improvise and do what he does best if a play breaks down, was college. And what did he have in college? What did he lead that team to, who had no one else that made the NFL? The number one team in the nation. Under the Kellen Moore's offense, Dak led the offense 2 years in a row to be the number one offense when he was playing. So y'all think that if he now has, where he now doesn't have anybody in his way sabotaging, right? Think the 49ers game. Do y'all think that Dak wanted to throw that option route while we were already basically inside the 10 where we could have easily kicked a field goal? No. But that's what his play caller played, and he probably didn't really have much good options out of that. Now, he could have freestyled it and did a QB run, which is what we all said he should have done. Now, but obviously he didn't have that leeway under Kellen Moore's system. Now he has that leeway. So now it won't be like Dak in his head is going rogue from what his coach is playing. His coach has now empowered him and said, hey, Dak, you now have the keys to the offense. So I might call something, but if it don't look good, don't run it. Like, literally do what you think versus that front or versus what you see. Run that play. Because ultimately, we're trying to move the ball. We're trying to score points. So this is why I say Dak could be, or I think Dak will be the MVP for 2023. I'm calling it right now. I don't see any other quarterback beating out what Dak Prescott is going to be able to accomplish this year. I think his completion percentage is going to be through the roof. I think his QBR is going to be through the roof. And I think we're really going to be able to see the brilliance of Dak Prescott's mind now, because he's never really been able, like I said, his rookie year, he was phenomenal, but of course he was a rookie, right? Then he was under Kellen Moore. Now he's able to really use everything that he's built under his tool belt for the past 8 years and put it all out there on the field. So I think the NFL is really going to know who Dak Prescott is this season. They think that they know him, but they really don't. They really don't know him at all. So I'm really excited about this, guys. And I want to encourage y'all. I really want to encourage y'all to just continue to have faith in your quarterback and have faith in this offense, have faith in Coach Mike McCarthy in the changes, and Coach Brian Schottenheimer and Coach Mike Solari in the changes that they are bringing to this offense, because I think it is going to be a phenomenal thing. Okay, Veep, if you can help us get, I believe it should be the last slide. And We're going to talk about this for 15 minutes, and then we're going to head out. Okay, guys. So, as I said, football is back. Oh, man. I'm so freaking excited to say that. Y'all have no idea. So, football is back. We have our first game this Saturday, as y'all can see, at 4 p.m. I think that's 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that would be 5 p.m. East and 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I think. So I just briefly want to go over the battles that we should be watching this upcoming preseason game, because it's going to be fun, guys. And this is where we're in the preseason now, guys, so this is where people are competing for their very freaking lives. Some people are going to be on this roster, and some are not going to make it, because we've got to go down from a 90-plus roster to 53. And this includes who even makes the practice squad, right? So, battles to watch. I said swing guard, so that's could be Matt Farniok, Joshua Ball, or Chuma Undoga. I didn't put Awesome because I don't think that he's going to beat out those three. I mean, obviously those three are vets. I mean, he could beat them out. I don't know. We need to watch him as well in the preseason to see where they're even playing him, because y'all know he played tackle in college. I'm talking about Austin Richards, our tackle/guard from North Carolina. I think he was our 5th round pick. So we need to be watching these guys, Farniak, Ball, and Udoga. So really keep a lookout for those guys to see who's going to possibly win that swing guard. Or if we don't have a swing guard, we're just going to have a backup left guard, a backup right guard. So really focus in on those. I think that's a big thing, because we really need to see how our offensive line is going to look, because that's a huge key, or a major key. As DJ Khaled says, major key. Major key. That's a major key to our offense's success this season. Next, this wide receiver 4 battle. Now, this is looking like Tolbert is going to take it. However, because Simi Fehoko, he had a good OTAs, but he has not been having a good training camp. He got hurt, and ever since he's gotten hurt, he's just not showing up. He's dropping a lot of balls. He's not looking confident out there at all. I don't know if the injury is still nagging him or not, but he hasn't been showing up. But 2 guys who have been showing up is Tolbert and Turpin. So really now I think the battle is more so between them, unless somehow Simi Fehoko takes some type of juice or something and he just goes off in the preseason. I'm thinking that he's possibly out, unless he shows up fast. But 2 guys that have been killing it have been Tolbert and Turpin, and they've been getting tons of separation. So please look out for that battle. That should be super duper exciting. Please look out for that battle, guys, on Saturday. Then we're going to move into the tight end 2 battle, Hendershot versus Shoemaker. Now, thank God, Shoemaker, he has been sitting out all training camp because he suffers from plantar fasciitis. And essentially he had been sidelined, but today he got cleared. And he was able to take some reps today. So Hendershot, we obviously love what he can do. However, he's been having the dropsies, sort of like Simi Fehoko. But he's having the dropsies, but then he shows up and he's getting a couple of touchdowns. So I don't know. We don't know. I do want somebody to push him. That's why I'm hoping that Shoemaker can emerge. We'll see what he's about this week and see if he can get some meaningful reps on Saturday. I don't know if they're going to play him much, but I hope so, because I do think Hendershot needs a little bit of pressure. I think pressure creates diamonds. So, and I think right now he probably just feels like he's locked in to tight end 2, and he needs to not have that mindset, because y'all remember he had a drop last season in that Titans game. And we literally could have lost that game against a bunch of backups because of it. So I think he really got to show up better. RB2, running back 2, we have Deuce Vaughn, Rico Dowdell, what's his name? Ronald Jones, and then Malik Davis. from what I'm hearing around the block, they're saying that it's likely going to be Rico Dowdell that's going to be running back 2. And they did release our unofficial depth chart, which they do have Rico Dowdell as running back 2. Y'all know I like Rico. And Rico always kills it. And then he gets freaking hurt before the season and he's out the whole season. So if Rico can stay healthy, he's most likely going to take that. I think it's probably most likely going to be between Deuce Vaughn, because Deuce Vaughn is going to have a role on this team. I'm just not sure what. I know he's been working on kick and punt returns, but I think he's going to actually have a role in the offense because he has been getting reps with the first team. So I would want it to be Deuce Vaughn, but I think just for the sake of veteran leadership and stuff like that, they're going to have Dowdell out there over Vaughn, at least in the beginning. And let's just hope that Dowdell can stay healthy. Ronald Jones, y'all know he had that whole PED incident, so he has to miss the first 2 games of the season. Of course, he did come out and say that it was something that was prescribed by his doctor, and he didn't know that it was basically, illegal or anything like that. So we'll see what happens with that. Malik Davis, I know a lot of people are rooting for him, but I just don't know if he's going to be Dowdell or Vaughn. Haven't heard much from what he's been doing this off season. And if you don't really hear your name, it's like you're not really doing much, so you're basically invisible. So and then we look at the cornerback 3 position with Bland, Joseph Wright, and Scott Jr. I'm pretty much, if Bland has taken the year 2 step, I don't see anybody defeating him. Obviously, I think Jordan Lewis, he's going to be on PUP for a while because he's still recovering from that Liz Frank injury. So I think Bland's pretty much got it locked, although Nashawn Wright and Eric Scott Jr. have been having a phenomenal camp. But I don't really see them beating out Bland. But like I said, we're going to be watching so that we can see. I don't know. Maybe they'll show up crazy in this preseason, and then we're going to have another discussion to have in future episodes. But right now, I feel like Bland, it may be locked, but let's watch out for Eric, Wright and Scott Jr. Kelvin Joseph, I don't know. I really don't know, guys. I don't know if he's going to make this roster. He hasn't been having a good camp, and I just haven't seen nothing positive from him. And I'm really disappointed in that because, he was our 2nd round pick, and he's got all the athletic ability in the world, but it's just not translating on the field. I purposely would want them to move him to free safety, but, they've got Junior Thomas and Marquise Bell and Izzy McClamu for backup safeties that they feel good about. So I really don't know what we're going to do with Kelvin Joseph. Maybe he can be a special teams ace. Obviously, he made some key plays last year on special teams, so maybe that's just what he's going to do. Maybe that's what he's going to be. He's going to be our Chris Goodwin replacement. But if Wright and Scott Jr. can be just as physical and stuff as Kelvin Joseph really might not make this roster. And I'm sad to say that, guys, but that's just how I feel. And then we're looking at the linebackers, Cox, Overshown, and Devin Harper. And it's cut off, but it should say also Malik Jefferson. I'm really praying, guys, that Jabril Cox has a role in this defense this year. Because if he doesn't have one this year, I think he's not going to be on this roster next year. And I hate that because Jabril Cox, I did a show over the linebackers as well, guys. Y'all check it out. I did it with Coach Marv, and we talked about the linebackers extensively. And Jabril Cox is just an athletic freak and, was the best coverage linebacker coming out of college. And he was the 2nd best linebacker against the run coming out of college behind Micah. And he just has not gotten any meaningful reps at all. So I'm really hoping that he gets those. And I'm really excited to see him in this preseason. Overshown's definitely going to make the roster. I think Dan Quinn's probably just going to sprinkle him in here and there. Same thing with probably Harper and Malik Jefferson, although I haven't heard anything about Harper, so we need to be looking out for him because I haven't heard his name at all during this training camp. But I have heard that Malik Jefferson and Overshown obviously have been having a great camp. But who I'm really looking at is Jabril Cox because I really hope he can get a meaningful role on this roster. Because like I said, if he doesn't, he may be out of here. Yeah, so that concludes our show for tonight, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's always fun for me to talk about Dallas Cowboys and just give y'all my thoughts. Like, y'all just hear Star's thoughts about all the things that are going on in training camp and what's happening with the team. I'm really excited for this preseason game that's coming up on Saturday. And hopefully we'll be able to recap that next week and talk about what we saw and just keep trucking along and getting ready for the season. Our season opener is versus the Giants, which is not that exciting. But hey, Cowboys football is Cowboys football, and I want to dominate the Giants. I want to dominate them in every form of the word. So we need to be getting prepared for them. But guys, please reiterate, please like this video. Please like this video. If you haven't liked it, please like it right now. Please share this video on all y'all's various platforms. Please, what else? Turn on your notification bells, guys, so that y'all know when Star is going live at all times. Please donate to the channel. Y'all can see there my Cash App, Stargazer Sports. Thank you to Kevin Richards for sending me something through Cash App. I did receive it. Thank you so much. I love you so much. And I love everybody who's in the chat tonight. Again, guys, once I get my equipment back, I'll be able to see everybody's chats, but I can't see it live during the show unless it's put up on the screen. So if you want some dialogue to go back and forth with me on based on what I said today, leave it in the comments and we can have a conversation, all right? Or if I don't bring it up in the comment, if I don't comment back, I'm gonna be sure to look at it so that maybe I can address it next episode, all right? But love you guys so much. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I will see you guys next week at 7 p.m. All right, 7 p.m. Central. Okay, bye-bye.